So here's the next project assignment. It asks you to create a couple of design artifacts. One of them being a class diagram. The class diagram should include several certain features that you should all have. These are the minimum requirements that are posted here. You're certainly welcome to make it a little more sophisticated. And all your documentation will be done in your wikis, right? In your GitHub repository. You can create any number of pages there. You can include any number of links to documents or images that you can embed. So if you have more than one repository, which probably you will have more than one repository for the project, you choose whatever the main one you think it is right, and always consistently submit that one repository, right? And anyway, if you have multiple repositories, they should all link to one another. They should all point to one another, so that you have a link going from one to the other, so you can navigate and see that they're related. And you should explain that in your wiki, right? In your home README file, you should explain that this repository is related to some other repository, right? And that if you want to replicate your environment, you need to clone both of them, and this is how you would install and compile and package and deploy and how to run it locally. Okay, so in that wiki, you're going to include one class diagram. Well, it could be multiple class diagrams, but at least one of them. Having chosen one of the three options that you might have considered, the class diagram has to have the following. Again, these are all minimum requirements. So the classes, you have to have at least one class representing a user, at least two classes that represent domain objects. Domain objects are non-human objects. Everything else that is not a human, right? So movies, orders, reviews, playlists, whatever, right? Anything that is not a human being. And depending on the size of your team, you'll need to have at least 2 roles, or 3 or 4, right? Depending on the size of your team. And again, depending on your size of your team, you'll need to have 2, 3, 4, 5 different domain objects. And the bigger the team, the more domain objects, the more roles you need to implement. And at least one to many relation. So this would be, a playlist contains many songs. Okay. At least one many-to-many relationship. An actor can act in many movies, right? But one movie can have many actors, right? A user can review many books, and a book can be reviewed by many users, right? So at least one many-to-many. At least one aggregation, meaning that if there was no cascade delete, right? If you remove a parent, the children are not removed, and at least one composition, right? Meaning if you remove the parent, it also removes the child. At least one generalization, right? So one inheritance, where you have a base class and you have a subclass, a derived class. At least one of those. At least one relation between a user. Between users, right? So a user related to another user. Maybe a user follows another user. A user sends a message to another user. A user manages an employee manages other employees. So a relationship between two human actors. Okay? It could be a self. This also could be a self reference, right? Within a table, you have foreign keys that point to the same primary keys of the same table. That's okay. Or they could be separate tables, right? Maybe you have a buyer and a seller, right? And they can follow each other somehow, right? So those might be 2 different tables. At least one relation between domain objects, right? Again, the playlist and the song, right? That's a relationship between 2 domain objects. At least one relationship between a user and a domain object, right? So a user creates a playlist, right? So a human actor, right, acts on some other domain object. Okay, some relationship between them, or humans, someone reviews a movie, right? So those are relationships. At least one enumeration, right? So where you can have a enumerated data type of different options, right? That that a particular field needs to have fall out of that particular set of valid values. All right, so one class diagram. And here's a couple of tools that are available. Some of them are free, some of them are for pay. I think Visual Paradigm is still free. I don't remember. One sequence diagram. A sequence diagram where you can list all the actors, all the main parts of a system and how they interact with one another. So one of them in the sequence diagram might be a user, right? The other ones might be multiple pages that the user interacts with, and just show what the data flow is between them, right? So it might be something like this. Right, where you have maybe a human actor and the various systems in your application, where one of them might be an outside API. Okay, some of them that lists a little bit of the architecture of your system. This might be the database. This might be the service layer. This might be the view. And just show the data, how the communication is happening between the user interacting with the view sending requests to a service, the service getting data from an API, then it processes that data and then stores it in the database, and then it retrieves the data for the view, and the view just renders the data for the view as a JSON object, right? So provide a sequence diagram that lists a little bit what the interactions between the different parts of the system are. Okay. So provide this in a wiki page on your repository called Design, right? And so there will be at least two images, right? One of them will be your class diagram, and the other one will be your sequence diagram. Okay. No need to be verbose and explain. I mean, certainly you can do that, but at least those two diagrams. Okay. All right.